I mean, listen, we talking about practice, not a game, not a game.
If you're looking for the best basketball talk in the universe, you just found it. This is Deep Hoops, where fans are the host. Tim Brayboy, Troy Ramel Royal, and me, your point guard, Jehudi. We're talking basketball, all basketball, and nothing but basketball. So sit back and enjoy the best basketball talk in the podcast universe. This is Deep Hoops.
Yeah.
All right, we're rolling.
All right, you ready? Mm-hmm. Well, it's been way too long, but we can't worry about where it's been. It's where it's at. And we're right here, right now. This is Deep Hoops. I am the minister.
And I'm Rob.
And Tim is somewhere in China right now, but we're going to forge ahead and give you another episode of Deep Hoops. What's going on, Rob?
Good to be back.
Good to be back, no doubt about it. And I seen you chopping it up, though.
Oh, yeah. I came.
You got to keep the chop going.
I did a show early in the week. I had some fun doing so, too.
Yeah, I mean, you had a bunch of topics, too.
Yeah, I had quite a few things to talk about. I was talking about the Pacquiao fight, the football playoffs, and, of course, basketball.
Of course, basketball. But, I mean, you're a well-rounded sports head. It's not just basketball. You talk all sports.
I can.
Yes. And, well, we're going to talk Deep Hoops basketball because that's what we're about here at Deep Hoops. So I want to get it started with Chris Paul makes his return, I believe, tonight. Today, we're filming this on Sunday. I believe he's making his return tonight. And Harden has been on a streak that has been ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. Even with Kobe's streak, when he went on his streak, this is something unheard of. Now, you can say, the rules have changed, but still, nobody else is doing it. So let's not dismiss what he's doing. But here's my question. How does Paul's return impact with the streak and what Harden is doing?
That's a very good question. But I want to ask, I'll answer that and then ask a question afterwards. I think it's going to have a severe impact on it. I think that Harden started something before Chris Paul's arrival, and I think that Chris Paul is going to impact it. I no longer like Chris Paul's game since he's been in Houston. Once upon a time, Chris Paul was being compared to the great Isaiah Thomas.
The real Isaiah.
The real Isaiah Thomas. As being this floor general, a leader, a captain, and someone who can get buckets. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, he lived up to it somewhat. Mm-hmm. Not identically, but he lived up to some of it. He comes to Houston, and one thing that D'Antoni does for players, he just gives them a vote of confidence or abundance of confidence or freedom, as you say, to just play ball and do what you want to do. You're in trouble if you don't do it.
Right.
And he came over there and it seemed like he lost his game because he started to play more like if he was in a playground. Mm-hmm. And when you watch Houston, it's almost like it's a record tournament game. And to me, if he comes back, I think that he's going to rival Harden, like go one-on-one against Harden, and I think it's going to be detrimental to the team. Mm-hmm. Right now, these players, they accept what Harden does. Will they accept it if it's Harden and Chris Paul? And to me, I think they may be better without Chris Paul.
They may be better right now, but come playoff time, you need Chris Paul. And I think, personally, if he's not 100%, and with him getting long in the tooth and always having an injury, I would err on the side of caution and may not bring him back because they're playing well.
They're playing extremely well.
And you don't want to impede on Harden's progress and what he's doing. But in order to go deep in the playoffs, which is what they want to do, they need him. They're going to need him. And I disagree with your saying that his play has changed because it had to change because of where he went. But I think that he has been impactful and effective, and they would have won possibly against Golden State had he not gotten hurt.
Let me ask you this, and that's a good point. They probably could have won. Mm-hmm. We don't know.
We don't know.
But let me ask you this. Do you think that Houston has any regrets of signing him to this long term? Or do you Or do you think that they possibly lost some respect for him?
No, I didn't. They definitely didn't lose any respect for him. If they're questioning signing him into a long term, I think more. What's his name? Maury, the GM and president. I think, of course, he's possibly questioning it because he signed him at a senior age. So yes, he's questioning it, but I think it was more so we have something here, and that combination works. I think the thing that they may be questioning more than that is letting it go. How does he say his name? Mute, and Trevor Ariza. Those losses may be more impactful than signing Chris Paul.
I want to give you something to think about. It was Chris Paul that lobbied for Carmelo Anthony. We all know how the story went with that.
But I mean, are you blaming him for lobbying for?
Hear me out. A year ago, Chris Paul was seen going through back doors to fight Austin Rivers at a Clippers game. Austin Rivers is on the team. I have a suspicion feeling that the Houston organization has lost respect for Chris Paul.
No, because they went to Chris Paul and asked him about Baby Doc.
I just don't see it.
Nah,
I see a lot of respect.
I saw Maury on First Things First the other morning. No respect being. I mean, that's an opinion, but I don't see it based on anything that can be substantiated.
Here's my thing. Whether it's Chris Paul or whether it's Maury, when the mic is in front of them, the cameras is on, they're all going to say the right things. No one's going to.
But all right, okay. So let me follow that trend. Let me follow that train of thought, because you're basing it on what? Not what they're saying. So what are you basing it on?
From what I'm seeing.
What are you seeing that's showing you that?
Chris Paul lobbied for Carmelo.
Okay.
Carmelo did nothing wrong to be axed.
Okay.
All right? But they did anyway.
Right.
So they just disregarded what Chris Paul said. Chris Paul was suspended for trying to get at Austin Rivers, and they bring him over. I see a lack of respect.
No. First of all, they went to Chris Paul and asked him.
We don't know.
Yes, we do. I mean, so now you're saying what they're telling us is all a lie. So
all I'm saying is that people say the right thing.
So I mean, we can speculate on anything. We can speculate on anything. He was screwing Harden's wife. We can speculate on that because maybe he was messing with Maury's wife. Come on, what are we talking about here?
Those things
you're making these up. But you're making it up. You're making it up. You're saying because they signed Austin Rivers, because they let go of Carmelo Anthony, they don't have respect for Chris Paul.
I think they've lost respect for Chris Paul.
Let's go to the next topic. I mean, come on. I'm going to be like Stephen A. Smith here for a second. All right.
I'm bringing the straw.
You stirred the drink. Can you stir this one? Speaking of streaks, we talked about Harden's streak. It was only about 3 weeks ago that people were saying, what's wrong with the Warriors? And now they're on a 10-game winning streak with a great game against Boston last night, beating anyone that comes on, that's put in front of them. And they've added Cousins. I mean, is this winning streak a telltale sign of what's to come in the playoffs?
Absolutely, yes.
Next topic.
Here's the thing. Okay. They lost a few games. They're not invincible. But at the end of the day, they're healthy now. They won without Cousins. They're only going to be better with Cousins. And I don't see them losing more than 6 games the rest of the season.
Okay.
And what I thought would be 7-game series in the playoffs with them, it's now down to 5. People come up to me and say, well, what about their bench? Cousins help their bench. Because when you got 5 all-stars in the start lineup, you can sit 3 and keep 2 on the court. When those 2 needs a break, you can bring in a bench with 2 or 3 more starters. It helps their bench. And Cousins is not even in shape. He's played 3 games, maybe 4 games. I don't think he's played more than 20 minutes, 22 minutes in any of those games, and he's averaging 16 points. And he's doing it from in the box, out on the perimeter, 3-point range. He's throwing good passes. He doesn't even have his win yet. He's hustling back on defense. Terry can make reservations.
Let me play opposition's advocate.
Go right ahead.
Cousins doesn't know how to win. He doesn't know how to win. So I know you're not saying that you're resting everything on Cousins being successful.
No.
I know that. You know what? What I want to do then is just bring it to the next question, because I don't so much disagree with you, but who do you think is going to give Golden State the most competition, East or West? What team can give them the hardest? Make them fight.
I think it's 2 teams out there, and they're both in the East.
Okay.
And I think it's Toronto and Boston. I think those are the 2 teams that will give them the toughest time in a 7-game series.
It's currently constructed because because Philly could pick up someone or
currently constructed. Yeah, those 2 teams are the teams that will give them the most trouble. Not saying that they will win, not saying that they'll go to 7 games, but I think their games will be hard fought and they will give them the most trouble. And I think part of it is that, first of all, in the case of Boston, they were just simply well coached. All right, they have a mastermind over there that's going to have them prepared, and they got several bodies that they can just play. I mean, from top to bottom, Golden State's starting lineup is clearly better than Boston's starting lineup, but Boston's bench is better than Golden State's bench. So at times, there could be lineups on the court where Boston have a better 5 out.
But to your point, the way that they would rotate their bench, you still have 2 or 3 of the starters out there.
You would have to have a starter out there. Boston can sit their starting 5 and put 5 in. And then Toronto's solid. And, it's probably going to come down to the play of Kyle Lowry, but you have defenders over there. You got Danny Green that can defend. You have Kawhi Leonard that can defend. Siakam is becoming a star before our eyes, and Ibaka seems like he's regained some fountain of youth. And now that you have Cousins, maybe now you can play Valanciunas some. And Valanciunas is a good offensive weapon. So I like those 2 matchups. I don't think there's a team in the West that can really give Golden State trouble. I don't see it either. I don't. Houston, people will harken back to what they did last year, but that's a different team than this year. So we throw them out the window. Unless, and once again, we're talking as currently constructed. Because if the Lakers could somehow pull off an Anthony Davis trade, well, then that changes things a bit. But it also, what do they lose to get him? But here's the thing about the trade circuit for a guy like Anthony Davis. I talk to people about this all the time, especially Laker fans. Yeah, the Lakers would love to trade for Anthony Davis. But my question is this. Why would New Orleans trade him now? Why trade him now? They don't have to rush to trade him at this point here. They don't have to rush to trade him at this point here. They can wait till the summertime to trade him. And in fact, it's easier for the Lakers to trade for him in the summertime than it is to trade for him now. Because you have to give him back $28 million in players. I don't even know if the Lakers have $28 million in players. But in the summertime, they don't have to give him back $28 million in players because the Lakers will be under the cap where they can just absorb that extra money. You see, so right now, let's say New Orleans said, well, I'll take Kuzma, Ingram, and Ball. That's $18 million.
Then they would have to throw in what's his name as well.
And New Orleans said, I don't want that.
But
Probably gonna have to throw in McGee or somebody.
No, not McGee. The guard,
Rondo.
the one that's managed by.
Oh, Pope. Caldwell Pope.
Yeah.
But what if they say no?
Well, I think one of the things, and you know that far better than I, but I think one of the things that will weigh in the favor of him going to the Lakers, whether it's now or during the offseason, is he's managed, his agent is LeBron.
Right, and here's the other thing. I don't think New Orleans would trade him to the Lakers. I don't think there's a team in the West that wants to help the Lakers.
No.
Right.
I mean,
so what will happen is, to your point, he probably winds up with the Lakers, but not directly from New Orleans.
right.
New Orleans is going to trade him and trade him somewhere where now that team is going to have to wonder if they can keep him re-signed. Do kind of like what San Antonio did with Kawhi Leonard.
So we're both in agreement that the best or the biggest threat, I shouldn't say threat, the most competition for the Golden State Warriors is going to come from the East.
Yes.
So with over 41 games in the books, half the season is already over. We made our predictions before the season started, but now we have an opportunity to amend what we picked. Who do you see representing the East in the finals?
I think it's going to be Toronto or Boston. I like what's going on in Milwaukee. I really, really like what's going on in Milwaukee. I just don't think Milwaukee is ready. I think they're a year away, maybe even a player away. I think they're heading in the right direction. They'll be making a mistake if they let Chris Middleton walk at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most underrated players in this game. He's only going to get better, and under the guidance of Coach Bud, he's probably going to blossom. I just don't think it's their turn quite yet. I think this is Boston's last hurrah at it, because if they don't make it to the conference finals, Kyrie's walking. He's walking. If they don't make it to the conference finals, let alone make it to the finals, if they don't make it, if they get bounced in the second round, Kyrie's walking. So this is their last hurrah. They got to get to the conference final. And then and here's the thing. If they don't get to the conference final, it's a step backwards. Because they were there last year. And Toronto, they got to push their chips all in.
Because they want to keep Kawhi.
Kawhi. Now,
but what about Philly? Where do you see Philly in this?
The problem that Philly's going to have, I don't think they can win a Game 7 on the road if it came down to it. And the way it's looking at, it's either going to be Toronto or Milwaukee at 1 and 2. I think the injury to Oladipo is going to help Boston climb to that number 3 spot. It might help Philly stay in the number 4 spot. But I think Philly can I think Boston can beat Milwaukee in that 2-3 matchup. Mm-hmm. Philly's not beating Toronto in that 1-4 matchup. And I don't see a 5, 6, 7, or 8 seed. I don't see a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed beating any of the 1, 2, 3.
No. I mean, the bottom of the East is the bottom.
Yeah, I just don't see
it. There's no one there. I mean, Detroit, no one there in that final 8. Miami, no one down there is going to be a threat to anyone in the top 4 or 5.
There's one team that, in the top 4, that if I'm the top 4, I don't want to play.
Who?
And not that they'll beat them or they will lose to them, I should say, but I wouldn't want to play Brooklyn in the first round.
Oh, yeah, nobody wants to play Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is that surprise team. It's and you know what? They're well coached. And there's a bunch of 6 men out there that's just playing above their head. They're getting it done. If I'm 1 through 4, I don't want.
But the funny thing about it, I love it. I love what they're doing during the regular season. Come playoff time, when you get a chance to really hone in and focus in on one team and one team only. All the stuff that they're doing, they're catching people by surprise. No one is expecting it. You don't have time to practice. You don't have time to really prepare. You're doing walkthroughs. you're not really, focused in on that team, come playoff time, people are going to be focused in on Brooklyn. It's a nice regular season story, but I don't think it's going to hold any water in the playoffs.
I said, I don't think they win a first round.
Right.
But
you don't want to face them.
I just wouldn't want to
you don't want. Toronto #1 doesn't want to see Brooklyn 8th seed.
Brooklyn probably get the 5th seed. I think Indiana's going to slide down.
Well, I don't think they're going to slide that far.
I think they slide to about 6 or 7.
I don't think they're going to slide that far. They played well before Oladipo came, and they played well once he was injured.
Well,
when he was sat out a little bit.
They didn't make the playoffs without him.
No, they didn't. But
well, they had Paul George at that time.
No, but I'm saying they played well this season before he returned.
Yeah, that's 1-2 games.
Yeah, but still, my man from Seattle, the coach.
Nate McMillan.
Nate McMillan is doing one of the best coaching jobs in the NBA. When we get to talking about this of the year, that of the year, he's got to be mentioned.
Yeah, his name is going to be there.
All right. But we jumped in. LeBron should be coming back.
Yeah. He's going to miss tonight.
He's going to miss tonight.
Against Phoenix.
But Saturday night, when they play against Golden State on prime time on ABC, he should be back by then.
Is that next week?
This coming Saturday, right before the Super Bowl. They want to have a big game.
Okay.
So, listen, LeBron, even if they have to wheel him out there, he's going to be playing in that game.
He should play.
But here's the thing. I said there was no way a LeBron James team would miss the playoffs, East or West. And I stood by that. But now, Father Time, is undefeated. He had the injury. We've never really seen him stay out because of injury for a sustained amount of time. Will this impact their ability to make the playoffs? His injury.
Yes. I really think it.
But before you, all right, you say yes. But let me ask you a question. Did you think that he could bring them to the playoffs healthy?
Well,
did you think that they would make the playoffs?
If you remember when we started the season, I said the Lakers won't make the playoffs.
Okay, so your yes is a bit skewed.
Yeah, but right now I don't. Man, the truth be told, it's hard to see a LeBron team not make the playoffs.
I can't see it.
I didn't think they would make the playoffs because I didn't think that the team could gel with what they put together. And when you put together a team with a bunch of one-year contracts and youngsters you got the one-year contracts that's looking to make money and get deals, and you got the youngsters that's trying to secure deals, I didn't think there would be any cohesiveness. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, I didn't think Luke Walton was the guy for the job. And a lot of it was false because they were playing well when healthy. But then some injuries came, whether it was Rondo, who's now on his second injury, LeBron's injury, Kuzma was out for a little bit, Ingram was suspended, Ball is now out. And this is a typical season for most teams anyway, but the West is so loaded with just teams that's just waiting to get in at the expense of your 3-game losing streak. Right now the Lakers are ninth, and they've maintained ninth. And I'm gonna tell you a team that they need to watch out for, although they lost today, is Sacramento.
Sacramento.
And here's the thing: the trade deadline is coming up. I think it's gonna be the most quietest trade deadline we've seen in the NBA in a long time. I don't see too many teams making any significant moves simply because it's too many people that are willing to buy. Too many teams that are willing to buy. And there's just not enough sellers. Memphis has gone out on a limb saying that they were willing to trade Gasol and Conley. They haven't even got no calls. But if there's a Gasol move that could be made today, that in my opinion, that can help a team get into the playoffs and maybe climb in the playoffs, it's Sacramento. I think Sacramento can give them 2 expiring contracts and Costa Koufis. Zach Randolph and 2 youngsters and Justin Jackson and Harry Giles and maybe a future pick for Marc Gasol. Couple of things here. Give him a veteran presence. Gives him someone who won't disrupt the offense because he's also a passing big man. Had success under Dave Yeager when Dave Yeager was in Memphis. And a lot of times, your big man is not as good as is only as good as your point guard. However, your big man can make your point guard look better too. And De'Aaron Fox
It's looking good.
is looking good.
Right.
Some might question, did the Lakers pick the right point guard last year?
I question it.
You know, so I think that if there's one team that could make a move that can really strengthen their team and maybe get them in a position to either make the playoffs or climb in the playoff, Sacramento could trade for Marc Gasol.
You caught me off in left field with that one. I didn't see that one coming, so I can't really respond to it. I would have to really sit back and think about it. I don't like to just give a knee-jerk response. A good thought. But going back to the Lakers, you're saying that Sacramento could, challenge to get into that 8th seed.
Yep.
The Clippers are now in the 8th seed. San Antonio and Utah are 7 and 6. I think when LeBron comes back, he's not going to be looking for the 8th seed. He's going to be looking for the 7, 6, or 5 seed.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the problem that you have. You think back in the last 10 years, and the Pacific Division that they're all in is kind of like the AFC East in football for the Patriots, where the Patriots, you can ink them in for 6-0, 5-1 just in the division. And when you're in a division where it features the Lakers, the Clippers, Golden State, Phoenix, and Sacramento, you figure those 4 games apiece against Phoenix and Sacramento, worst case scenario, you were 7-1. You might be 2-2 against Sacramento these days. Possibly 1-3. They're playing some good ball, man. They're really playing some good ball.
Listen, LeBron returns. If LeBron is healthy, as currently constructed, now, one of the things that will throw a monkey wrench in what I'm saying is this controversy that's rearing its head again about Luke Walton.
Yeah.
They got to stop this. If you're going to get rid of Luke Walton, you're not going to do it during the season. I mean, it would be totally disruptive, and it wouldn't do anything to help them make the playoffs. Not making the playoffs is important to.
I mean, there's rumblings of the Lakers trading for Kevin Love. There's rumblings of Kyrie Irving maybe signing with the Lakers. Rumblings of Tyronn Lue. I don't know. This could be just some fan out there putting it out there. But, I mean, you don't know what's going on.
I don't, but my point being, all of this is not good for the Lakers trying to make a playoff run.
No.
I mean, all of that, if there's enough of a circus environment around them anyway with LeBron.
Right.
You don't need to add fuel to the fire.
And
with these young players that are trying to get their head adjusted and understanding the playoffs and stepping up to another level, Rondo, it doesn't matter as much. The veterans, it won't matter as much. But these young players, they don't need all of this stuff swirling around them.
They don't. I mean, you have Caldwell Pope that's there on a 1-year deal. He knows this is his last year. He know he did his job. He learned LeBron. Mm-hmm. His signing led to LeBron signing. All right. You got Ball that's still trying to fight that bust label. And I'm gonna tell you, Ball's having a very good season.
Yeah, until he got hurt. Yeah.
He's
his last 5-7 games, whatever it was solid.
Yeah,
and his season wasn't bad before that.
Nah,
but those
good.
the one that I'm questioning is Ingram.
I'm not an Ingram fan.
I don't want to say I hate it because I don't like using that term. But Ingram, what is this? His third year, fourth year, third year? Third year. He should be further along than he is right now.
All right, here's the thing with Ingram. I'm not going to say I don't like him. Let me take that back. He may not fit the Lakers. Ingram is a guy that can't really play off the ball. He's got to have the ball. And you already have those type of players. Ball is a facilitator. LeBron, a facilitator. Rondo, a facilitator. I mean, this is the one thing that bothers me about Magic Johnson when it comes to Ingram. Get James Worthy out of the booth and let him come down there and work with him. Let him show him how to run the lanes, how to maybe get on the baseline and do a quick spin move and lay it up. I mean, use what you got. Dave Fizdale is grabbing any form of Nick possible to come and work with these guys. Rasheed Wallace was working with them, for crying out loud. Bring James Worthy down. You know, the thing about Ingram is that he's going to have some numbers because he has the ball in his hand. But he's got to recognize that if there's a budding star on that team, it's not him.
No.
Recognize who's who and what's best for your team. Kuzma, I don't know if he's a number 2 on any team, a Robin, but he sure is a bad girl on him.
Yeah, I mean, Alfred at the least. You know, I mean, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid player, and to me, I'm not saying defer and watch him do it, but recognize that this guy, maybe because of his age, maybe because of the 4 years in college, he might be a year ahead of you.
But, you know, here's the funny thing, and we've got to close and go to our closing comments. But here's the funny thing. I'm sick and tired of hearing players saying this is my team, or sick and tired of players saying that they have to do this or they have to do that. Isn't winning the objective? You know, if winning is the objective, why can't you do what needs to be done and then say, I won, and now I want to go like Kyrie. Now I want to leave. I won, I can leave now. Right. I want to go and run my own team. I get that. You know, if you want to run your own team, but win.
Yeah. And they haven't been close to winning.
No.
they haven't been close to winning. And the sad thing about it is that the Lakers are clearly a young team, loaded with talent. I mean, we didn't even bring up Josh Hart. Mm-hmm. That could play for anybody. You know, yes, Kuzma. The fact that LeVar is somewhere else, it seems like Lonzo is playing great ball.
He needed to get his daddy out of there.
So, and Ingram is not talentless. He has talent, but he just needs to recognize what is conducive or best for the team to win.
My last thing, and it's going to be somewhat a part of my closing comments. Magic has got to get control of that team. If he's going to be the president of operations, he's got to understand, listen, no more leaks. Just like he shut up the LeVar, he's got to shut up the leaks that are coming from LeBron James' camp about Luke Walton. He doesn't want Luke Walton. Okay, I get it. But you can't do it now. I mean, it would be a nightmare if they get rid of him. And who are they going to go to? Lou? Tyronn Lue? Is Mark Jackson going to come out of the booth mid-season and coach and not have a training camp? So what are you doing?
I'm not sure, but I told you before the season.
Yeah, I know, but see, I know, but what I don't want to see is people locked in. I mean, not you, but locked in on. Well, I said this, or Magic didn't pick him. Okay, well he's there, and you're over halfway through the season. You're going to get rid of him now, or you're going to let these rumblings about him not being the coach? Yo, deaden that. You can bring that back up in the offseason. But right now, we have to be, as a captain, as a leader, you have to rally the troops. And you have to say, no distractions. Our goal is the playoffs and winning in the playoffs. All of this other stuff is a distraction, and we've got to get rid of it. That's what a leader would do.
And it's so bad that about 3 weeks ago, I read a small article. Jeannie Buss came out and gave us support for Luke Walton. So I agree with you. He has to do a better job with managing a team, but could it be coming from him? Could he be saying something privately that's leading to this?
If it does, I have even less respect for him.
And that's the part we don't know.
We don't know. So
he's not addressing it.
He's not. And you know, he needs to deaden it and say, Luke is my guy. Him, Luke, and James say, I don't know where this stuff is coming from. Now you talking about lying? Lie to us. Lie to your team.
But he did come out and say, we're to win now.
Right, I get that. But how are you going to win now with all of this other stuff swirling around with these young players? We got to go to closing comments. I can go all day. This is going to be part of my closing comments. So why don't you jump on?
Well, my closing comments is going to go in a different direction today. And I've been one of those NBA fans that's been very critical on coaches. I felt like there's hardly any coaches that are teachers in the game in the NBA, as it was once upon a time. I always thought that the teachers of the game were still in college. Well, I'm here to apologize to the NBA because this season has been by far, I don't know if it's the rule changes, I don't know if it's the talent that's in the league, but by far, this is the best group of coaching, of teaching collectively as a unit of NBA coaches that I've seen in a very long time. You know, I touched bases on Sacramento. Dave Yeager is doing a phenomenal job. Malone in Denver is doing a phenomenal job. Nick Nurse, you know, he was the assistant coach and he was there last year. Nothing has changed with Toronto. Doing a phenomenal job. Mike Budenholzer, doing a phenomenal job. Kenny Atkinson with the Brooklyn Nets, doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I'm even going to go to the bottom feeders. Atlanta Hawks in our backyard may have won 15 games only, but they got some signature wins. And in every game, they're losing by 8 points or less in just about every game. Lloyd Pierce, in his rookie year as a head coach, doing a phenomenal job. I cannot recall a time where coaches are really stepping up and coaching their tail off. You mentioned Nate McMillan. I mean, some of these coaches are seasoned coaches, but what they're working with, doing a phenomenal job. Doc Rivers may not even have an all-star, doing a phenomenal job. Rick Carlisle, what's he working with? He got a rookie that's leading him, doing a phenomenal job. And maybe the wins and losses is not where they want to be, but these teams are not getting blown out anymore. I mean, I've seen more double overtimes and overtime games this year simply because the coaching is up. Coaching is up to the tasks this year in the NBA, and I'm here to recognize it. And we're watching not only some talented ball players, but we're watching some coaches really get after it this year, having a team well prepared and doing a phenomenal job. Those are my closing comments.
You know, I agree wholeheartedly. The teams, the coaching, we're seeing some outstanding coaching. And I'm going to continue on that coaching thought and go back to Luke Walton. I think it's a travesty of what's happening with him. Here's a man that with Golden State, you can say he had all the talent, that went on the greatest win streak that Golden State has ever gone on in this, time of all these championships. He went over to the Lakers because Jeannie Buss knew that he was a transcendent coach, someone that was good for the current players and someone that can coach. He has lineage. He has NBA lineage. Here's a young man that is cool, calm, and collected and knows how to communicate with everyone. And then in comes drama. And, I'm not being negative on LeBron, but wherever LeBron goes, there's drama. Everywhere he goes, he brings drama with him. But I'm not blaming LeBron for this. I'm blaming Magic for this. You see, you can bring the drama, but Magic should have known what he was getting when he was getting LeBron, and they should have had a conversation. Listen, you tried to be a GM, and look what it did. And everywhere you left them in shambles. So now, this is the Lakers organization, and the Lakers organization is bigger than LeBron James. So we're not going to allow you to leave us in shambles. You play, we have a coach, we'll be the GM, and we'll get you the players. We're going to get you a title. That's the goal. So we need you to play. Fast forward, I know he didn't hire Luke Walton, but to have these things going on at at the halfway point over 41 games, and there's leakage about Luke Walton. LeBron's camp doesn't want Luke Walton. And Magic Johnson is not saying anything to refute that. Bad management. I'm sorry. Now, you may not put Luke in those top echelon of coaches, but he's the number 8 seed and he lost his best player. I mean, 9th seed and he lost his best player. You take LeBron out of anyone else's organization, the lineup, with the rest of that cast that he has, he's doing a damn good coaching job, in my opinion. So, Magic, I plead with you. I'm not even talking to LeBron. I'm talking to you, Magic. Stop the nonsense. End it. And say, you know what? Luke is our coach for this season. Now, beyond that, hey, you don't need to give him any guarantees. No coach has any guarantees beyond this season. Let this stuff end. You got some young players that are watching all of this, and how are they going to be able to respond and step up with all of this madness? The circus is big enough with LeBron. Don't add to the circus drama. End the circus drama. That's my closing comments.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Hey, listen, we promise you we're not going to be away as long as we've been away this time. We now are going to have a schedule where we're recording once a week. On Sunday evenings, we will be recording, except for next Sunday because it's the Super Bowl. We ain't recording next Sunday, all right? We'll try to figure out if we do a show. If we don't do a show on Saturday, we'll check y'all out in 2 weeks, all right? For Tim Brayboy, I'm the minister.
And I'm Rob.
We would like to thank you for tuning in to Deep Hoops, where we're not experts, but we're passionate fans talking about the game we love. Peace.
Peace.